Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Rugby with Pads. That's where we are. Sorry, I've almost forgot my lines there. It is Monday, the week after week 5, and I'm trying to stay positive. I was upset on the weekend. The Rams lost on Thursday night, and you know what? That set me on a train, but I'm staying positive. I didn't win many matchups this week. I went from my undefeated league into being defeated, but you know what? These things happen. And if you listen to Sunday's show, I gave myself some advice on what to do if I was 3-1 or 4-1. And I've gone through the motions. I've gone through the whole 12 stages of acceptance, and I'm here today to talk to you about waiver predictions, things people you should look out for. Sorry, waiver projections, not predictions, and some things we learned this weekend. And I am going to start off with Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football has taught us, and this is the first thing we've learned this weekend, is that the 49ers and Thursday Night Football can ruin your day. They're just something about Shanahan. I was talking about it in the last show that Shanahan has had advantage on it's now 13 or so 10 of 11 of the last 13 games or something silly against the Rams and Sean McVay. We play them twice a year, and every time we play them, it goes crazy. It had Mac Jones, it had no one on offense, yet still they pull up a victory. Absolutely insane stuff. Yes, it was in overtime, but I think Thursday Night Football has been blessed with some really good games, and I wish I was in a time zone where I could watch them, because in Ireland it's really nice to have focus on a team that you support and on a game that you really love. In more general terms, though, number 2, the things we learned this week: nobody is good. / everyone is good, / everyone is bad, / nobody is bad. I don't really know what to say, but I was thinking about this kind of circle of life on who beats who. It started with the Giants. This last week, we were talking about how the Giants pulled it out of the bag and they beat the informed, the unbeatable Chargers. This week, the Saints beat those said Giants, those giant killers. So if the Chargers also beat the Kansas City Chiefs, will the Saints beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Is that how that logic works? Anyway, there were some crazy matchups, and I've got them up on the screen here. And we've got Chiefs and Jaguars tonight, which would be interesting. But the Vikings game could have gone either way. The Colts absolutely putting to town the Raiders. The Cowboys and Jets wasn't too surprising, but the Broncos coming against the Eagles. But Pats and Bills on Sunday Night Football, crazy game. Excuse me. And I think we've come to a decision here. We've come to a point here where only 2 teams are kind of where they are. It's like Schrodinger's team. A team is good until it's not, or not, and a bad team is bad until it's not. But there's only really 2 bad teams that are really truly bad that I can still see, and they're the Browns and the Bengals. The Browns, even with the great new hope of Dylan Gabriel, still bad. Great defense, but not good enough defense to counteract Carson Wentz, of all people. And on the other side, you've got the Bengals, who, without Joe Burrow, have just crumbled. Yet they still had a relatively competitive showing on paper. I think there was a lot of it in garbage time, however. And the final thing we learned, and this is very fantasy related, is running back by committee will kill you. I've come full circle on this, and I hate it because it's so hard to predict. And this is why I lost a couple of my matchups this week. I think running back by committee works, and it is the way forward. So, we go full circle on whether you go early running back, early wide receiver in drafts, but, tend to be the fact that running backs are rarer in terms of being good and also more disposable, which feels kind of mutually inexclusive. But you know what? Let's take the Ravens for example. Last week they were going down that committee route. Justice Hill was looking great. He is the least played running back of the lot of them. It goes back to Derrick Henry. I thought there would be lots of passing play with Cooper Rush, and they had to chase the game. Nope, just was ignored basically. It went unused. The Texans, after having gone to Woody Marks, now go back to Nick Chubb. The Saints, Kendre, Kamara, and Taysom Hill now all getting involved. The Cardinals, 3-headed backs, all looked weird. I don't think it was the right thing to do because they couldn't settle on anything, couldn't get a rhythm going, which is why the Titans managed to sneak back in the fourth quarter. But Carter was there for volume. Mercado was there and was the breakaway runner. He was definitely most efficient. I think 82 yards on 2 carries or something silly like that. But then Bam Knight gets all the red zone carries. Even good teams like the Lions mix it up, make it painful for us, although they produce two great fantasy running backs anyway. The Seahawks, 49ers, the Seahawks, K9, averaged 8.6 a yard, with Zach Charbonnet getting 50 yards less, but getting a touchdown. So which one's more relevant? They're both relevant. So the Commanders using all 4 backs, but it's great to see Bill getting 2 touchdowns, and the Pats using all 3, but with Ramondre Stevenson, who was out of favour, getting 2 touchdowns. It doesn't make any sense. Coaches, please just put that up, Midri. Let us know who's going to get the touches. I know that's probably not going to happen because it's very hard to predict against, so you don't want to tell your opponents, but still for us fancy owners, we're the ones who matters. I will say a big up to Rico Dowdle, who I was watching. I was like, is that really him? Rico Dowdle, I'm just looking at the box score here, had an absolute career game after being cast aside. He had 206 yards on 23 carries, averaging 9, 1 touchdown. And I think he got involved in the passing game as well. Yeah, 3 for 28, along with 13 there. Absolutely amazing. He was just powering through. He was injured halfway through as well. He had all kinds of stuff going on, but he was an amazing player yesterday and someone who you wish you'd had on your fantasy team. But let's see who we want to have on our fantasy team coming up to this week. We have 2 matchups, so 2 teams who are on a bye in going into week 6, this is. And you have Minnesota, so you're losing out on Justin Jefferson, so you need a wide receiver if you're in that market. Hawkinson, Mason, if you're interested in that. I think he let people kind of a bit of an up and down journey this weekend. Carson Wentz, hopefully we'll get JJ McCarthy back, although if he's any better, we don't know. We've got the Houston Texans, so we're losing out on the aforementioned Nick Chubb, who is confusing at best. Whether we'll see someone coming in after that, I don't know. CJ Stroud, who made it amazing this week as well. Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz is relevant as well. So you're missing players at every position that is probably relevant to your team. And I'm going to start off with the QBs that you're looking at here. And I picked out a couple of players at each position who I thought you should consider. The first one is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a Stone Age pony, sort of, but the last 2 weeks he has put together really efficient passing performances. He's passed 30, made 30 plus completions each time. When he does, he is getting nearly 400 yards, multiple touchdowns. That's what you want. 27 and 25 point games back to back, 52% rosters, which means he's nearly half available, 48% available in most of your leagues. You need to go out and get him. And you know what? I would not be surprised if this guy that I want to talk about in a second, this is the 2025 season, I want week 5. Let's have a look at the guys who performed in week 5. McCorkle Jones, another 22-point performance on this. 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, really efficient. A little bit of carrying as well. He's got something about his feet. He is 98% available to you, and I would not be surprised if Purdy recovers from his toe for a little bit longer, because Kyle Shanahan can win with a block of wood by the looks of it. At running back, I've already told you need to go and take a look at Rico Dowdle, the number 1 guy this week. He's only 6% roster, which means in nearly half your leagues he is available. Go get him. Obviously, the second guy, this was amazing. I watched Jonathan Taylor absolutely tear me apart. He is not available in any of your leagues, but if anyone hasn't got him, you need to go get him. I still like Bill. Bill is available in about 30% of your leagues, but we've talked about him already. So let's find someone who we haven't talked about much, and I'm going to go with Kendre Miller if I can find him. He's down here somewhere. The reason I like Kendre Miller, and I'll talk about it first. I was looking at the box score, and the reason I like Kendre Miller above a lot of other guys is he just seems to be getting more chances. Yeah, 10 carries compared to Alvin Kamara's 5. I feel like he's going to be, or as I've covered 6 or 7, he's also getting in the reception game. It might not be amazing scores, and they did lose, and I think that was... They did win, sorry, and I think that was more down to the fact they had to throw it a lot to keep up and again keep ahead subsequently of the New York Giants. I just feel like he's getting more chances. I feel like he's due a breakout. He's got something about him. He's available in 80% of leagues, and if you're struggling at running back, which a lot of us are, yeah, he could pop off by all means. You're obviously looking at Michael Carter as well, because I talked about him being the volume guy, and he very much was. Did he get 18 carries for 51? Not particularly efficient, but he did get a touchdown. And just being about, he's more of a well-rounded guy. 5 for 22 in the air as well. I didn't realise that. 18 points this week. Whether they go back to doing the same thing next week or not, I don't know, but he is worth a look there. He is available in about 60% of your leagues. At the wide receiver mark, Stephon Diggs, I think he actually tore it up against the Bills this week, but he is pretty much swallowed up. The first guy on my list here who is relatively available is Rashid Shaheed. He's about 6% occupied at the moment, 40% available, but he's got those big boom plays, and they are still going to be there. Spencer Rattler does love to throw it down there, and sometimes Rashid Shaheed is just there, 40% available. He got 21 points this week. I think it would be an interesting play next. You've got some really interesting ones. There was one guy, was it for the Dallas Cowboys? I want to say it's like Flournoy or something like that. Here we go. Flournoy, never heard of him. Everyone thought it was going to be Tolbert or Turpin or something like that. And then this guy comes in. He's 99% available, 6 for 114. Absolutely crazy. 2 carries as well, all involved. The Dallas Cowboys are a hot mess, but if you can get someone who is part of that, then and who might play, that's great. They've obviously got some confidence in him. Torrey Horton was an interesting play for me. The numbers don't stand out really. He's only getting 3 or 4 receptions on about 4 or 5, on maximum 4 targets. But he has had games where he scores. His efficiency when he is targeted is there. And I think it's something they're going to end up keying in on. Cooper Kupp is obviously the number 2, but in 3 receiver sets, which they don't play a huge amount of, Torrey Horton can be the guy. And if you see him on the pitch, he's probably going to be spooled up as well. 96% available in your leagues. And at tight end, again, it's a tough position, but another Seahawk, AJ Barnett, he was in the red zone more times. Every time I looked, it was in the end zone. 753, 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. That's quite a good efficiency there. 25 points to be the number 1 guy this week. He is available in over 99% of your leagues. Once again, go and get him. And I'm going to talk about someone I talked about at the start of the season. It's taken a little time to get going. It's not amazing, but in the tight end room, do you want amazing or do you need reliable? I would like reliable. He is slowly working his way up the depth chart. 9 for 67 on 12 targets. He's obviously favoured by Justin Fields. He wasn't that under pressure this week. Justin Fields didn't feel, but Mason Taylor is available in 91% of leagues. So go and have a look at him. So there's a couple of quarterbacks, a couple of running backs, a couple of wide receivers, and a couple of tight ends for your your consideration. That's the word, thinking, consideration. Anyway, that's me for this episode. I'll be back later on the week to preview week 6. Not that I'm very good at predicting, because my predictions always seem to bump me in the face, but hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you liked it, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Find us on the socials at Rugby with Pads, www.rugbywithpads.com if you want to get a membership and support the pod there as well. But without further ado, I'll let you go. And I just want to say thank you for listening this far, and I will see you all very soon on the Virtual Gridiron.